It's Thursday, March 19th, 2026, and apparently it's Let's Laugh Day, which feels targeted because the AI systems that made this episode definitely tried to humble us in the edit. This is CoeCast, I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. And yes, this whole episode was assembled by a little robot assembly line. Like if your podcast had a backstage crew and it was all agents wearing tiny headsets. Some of them are competent, some of them are, spiritually confident.
Painfully accurate. Today we're talking about 3 moves that all point at the same shift: agents are growing up. MiniMax announced MiniMax M2.7 with this self-improving vibe inside their agent platform. Moonshot's Kimi K2.5 is getting hyped for open weights and long context, and Langflow 1.8 is bringing in IBM's open-source Agentics framework, which is basically adult supervision for agent workflows.
Hold up. Self-improving always triggers my scam alarm. Like, is it self-improving or is it just speed-running the wrong decision with better posture?
That is the line, right there. The good version is iterative refinement loops where the agent generates, critiques, and patches the output. The bad version is it confidently optimizes for the wrong goal because the spec was fuzzy, the inputs were messy, or it latched onto a bad assumption early.
Or it improves by making everything sound like generic LinkedIn oatmeal. Like, congratulations, you removed all personality. It's very improved.
Exactly. For marketing ops, self-improvement should mean the system gets better at your constraints, not better at producing more stuff. The loop needs friction, checkpoints, validation, and a way to detect when it's drifting.
So what's the first thing you'd actually trust MiniMax M2.7 with unsupervised? Like truly, no human hovering like a paranoid raccoon.
Unsupervised? I'm not letting it push buttons in ad accounts or publish. Not yet. The first thing I trust unsupervised is structured prep work. Research gathering, extraction, classification, and packaging. Like, here are the competitor claims pulled into a table, or here are 10 angles based on these sources with citations. It can run, but it cannot ship.
I'm with you, but I'm going to be spicy. I trust it even less with research if it can browse, because browsing plus confidence is how you get fantasy citations. I'd rather have it draft variants off an approved brief than go out into the internet wilderness and come back with cursed facts.
Fair. So we scope it. It can only use internal docs, or only use a curated source set. Or we do retrieval where it can only quote what it pulled. That's the point of guardrails. The agent doesn't get freedom, it gets permissions.
Okay, now Kimi K2.5. People are yelling open weights, long context. It can ingest our entire brand universe. And I want that. I want to drag in the brand Bible, the campaign graveyard, the CEO's unhinged notes, all of it.
Same. The most realistic workflow is not one prompt to rule them all. It's one model hosts a living brand memory, but you still structure it. You give it brand guidelines, approved phrases, banned phrases, compliance rules, product truth, and examples of great past creative. Then you run a brief builder that produces a structured creative brief every time.
And then what breaks is context rot. Like it technically has the whole brand universe in there, but it still forgets the one line, legal will actually sue you over.
Yes, long context is not long attention. It's a bigger desk, not a better brain. You still need checkers. And honestly, you need the workflow to force the model to point to the exact passage it used for a claim.
Also, open weights are cute until legal is like, so who's liable when the model hallucinates a medical claim? Because the weights are on our own hardware does not mean the liability evaporates.
Governance gets real fast. Teams I'm seeing handle it with policy packs and audit trails like model version pinned, prompts versioned, tool calls logged, approvals tracked. And you create risk tiers. Low-risk content can be mostly automated. High-risk content always requires human review and maybe even dual approval.
Wait, you're describing my dream receipts. I want the agent to show its work. If it can't, it doesn't get to talk.
That's why Langflow 1.8 is interesting. The IBM Agentics integration brings primitives like AMAP, AReduce, and AGenerate patterns, plus validation and traceability. That's how you replace prompt spaghetti with something you can actually debug.
Tell me more about map, reduce, generate, but make it marketing-brained.
Sure. Map is like, take every customer review and extract pain points, sentiment, and product mentions into a structured row. Reduce is, roll those rows up into themes and a summary insight report. Generate is, create new rows, like campaign angles or ad variants, that conform to a schema. The key is, each step can validate outputs, and you can trace what happened.
Okay, wait, that's huge for creators too. Imagine mapping your entire content library into tags and hooks, then reducing into what's actually working, then generating a month of briefs that match your voice. That's not AI-made content, that's AI-made a system.
Exactly. And it's way more predictable than just telling a chatbot, be my content strategist, and praying.
But I want to poke the hype. Everyone on X is acting like agents are ready to replace whole marketing teams. And I'm like, have they met marketing teams? Half of the job is hurting opinions.
The biggest gap between X-hype and enterprise reality is change management and evaluation. Security matters, yes, but even if it's secure, people still don't trust it. And they shouldn't, blindly. You need lightweight evals that run constantly.
ROI too. Because right now, agent ROI is vibes. It's like, it saved me time. Okay, how much time, compared to what, and did it introduce risk?
The credible path is measuring throughput and quality together. Time to first usable draft, revision count, error rate, and human review time. And you track incidents. If the agent makes fewer mistakes over time with the same guardrails, then it's actually improving. If output increases but incidents spike, you're just scaling chaos.
Speaking of chaos, open-weight private deployments. Everybody's like, we'll run Kimi K2.5 locally for sensitive creative and customer data. Great. What's the failure mode nobody talks about?
Tools, not the model. Data leakage happens when the agent can call external tools, or someone pipes customer data into a random plugin, or the workflow silently falls back to a hosted API because it's faster. Teams think they're private, but the plumbing betrays them.
Yes, the quietly reverting to closed APIs thing is so real. Like the intern who just wants it to work and suddenly your sensitive deck is in some mystery cloud.
So you enforce routing, you make the system choose the approved model endpoints, and you log every call. If it can't be logged, it can't run.
Okay, let's do the do not automate list, because I feel like people need permission to keep humans in the loop.
Claims and compliance stay human. Pricing changes stay human. Crisis communications stay human. Anything that can create legal exposure or reputational damage stays human-led, even if the agent drafts options.
And approvals, not because humans are perfect, but because responsibility is a human job. Also, anything taste-based, like, is this actually funny? Sorry, machines still do hello fellow kids sometimes.
Facts. Also, we covered recently how image models are getting dangerously almost right. That same risk shows up here. Agents can produce assets that look compliant at a glance, but sneak in subtle issues. You need reviewers who aren't exhausted.
Which is why the agent should be used to reduce reviewer exhaustion, not increase output until everyone's eyes glaze over.
Exactly. Use agents to pre-check, pre-tag, pre-structure, and draft. Let humans do judgment and final taste.
Quick aside, people are also talking about always-on local agent frameworks, like OpenClaw vibes. If you gave that a budget and a leash, what's the responsible use for marketing without creating a 24/7 brand risk machine?
I'd make it an always-on listener, not an always-on speaker. It monitors competitors, comments, support tickets, campaign performance notes. It produces daily drafts and alerts with traceable sources. But it doesn't post, it doesn't respond publicly, it hands a clean packet to a human.
That's actually such a good framing. Listener mode. Speaker mode requires consent and approvals.
And Riley, since it's Let's Laugh Day, the funniest outcome is the one we avoid, an agent self-improving your brand voice until it becomes a sentient press release.
Stop, I can hear it now. We're thrilled to announce our exciting new synergy. Instant Block.
All right, that's the episode. Thanks for hanging with us on KoiCast.
Go laugh at something real today. It's literally the holiday. And please do not let your agent be the funniest person in your org.
Subscribe if you want more of these real-world workflows as the tools evolve. And check out koi.com/resources for AI news and updates.
Catch you next time.